believe the original music was YMCA or whatever, but yeah, no, Trump is right about everything. Some bot put that on True Social and he spread it. It gets a little bit weirder than that though. Take a look. Now, at first, I just thought that was video of Trump practicing for the Olympics or something. Then I realized, wait a second, that's subtly different than his body. So yeah, no, thank you to the meme makers on the right for that, because Trump saved Cracker Barrel or something. Does this make you feel better about all that's going on in America? Trump definitely thinks that it does, because there's a lot of Cracker Barrel stuff on his feed these days. He's got this other one where he's dancing with the Cracker Barrel guy because he saved them or something. But anyway, all of this is designed to make you think like, oh, I'm actually happy. I'm having so much fun. I'm dancing. Trump was right about everything. I saved some restaurant that I would never, ever be caught dead in. But there is a dark undercurrent to this. Once you get past the YMCA or whatever, he starts going after his enemies. So he puts up this of Rosie O'Donnell, I guess, and says, as previously mentioned, we're giving serious thought to taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. She's not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so. So he would have you believe that you shouldn't have any respect for Rosie O'Donnell because she's ugly, but evidently not ugly enough because they had to change her face for the image or something. Donald Trump, who obviously is a hottie bo body, never has to worry about this sort of thing. Nobody could have an issue with his face or whatever. But yeah, again, don't be worried about the scandals. Don't be worried about the Epstein cover-up. I saved Cracker Barrel, and I might strip the citizenship away from a media figure that is mean to me. Okay, but it doesn't end there. He's got this video of Chris Christie, who's sumo wrestling JB Pritzker or whatever. You know, because they're both fat. Ha, they're fat, says Trump. Honestly, at this point, I'm pretty sure that Chris Christie weighs less than Donald Trump. At some point, I don't think that you could keep mocking him for his weight when you're a physical wreck, Donald Trump. But don't worry, I hate them. They're fat. Puh, who cares about them? MAGA, does this make you feel better about the state of your economic outlook on life? I don't know why it would. There's he's attacking Adam Schiff and he makes his neck longer. But I thought he already had a ridiculous, like if his neck is so ridiculous, why did you have to manipulate it? And that video, by the way, if you watch it, which you shouldn't, is him talking about the weaponization of government to go after Donald Trump's critics. So again, the point kind of undercuts the idea that Trump is a free speech warrior, a defender of all that is good and just and everything, when he's literally manipulating a video of the guy pointing out how authoritarian he is. Then there's this, he's attacking Gavin Newsom. There's a lot of attacks on Gavin Newsom. It's him like ineffectually attacking the bag or whatever. But like the thing is, Trump, you don't look like that. You've never looked like that. That's not how you look. And Gavin Newsom, that's not Gavin Newsom's body, but you would trade places with Gavin Newsom's body in an absolute heartbeat, and you know it. So like you can make fun of him if that makes you feel better, but we all know you wish you looked like that. We all know Melania wishes that you looked like that. So it's a little bit strange. And then he put up this where he's got he's got a Trump hat on for some. But he doesn't support you. What? Again, I don't understand. Like, does this make you feel better? Why would this make you feel better? Producer Mike in the Twitch chat's like, see Gavin Newsom, you're hot. Gotcha. Yeah, he's really burned by you showing him kickboxing or whatever. And so at the end of the day, this is a coping mechanism. This is copium. And then like once you get past all the AI stuff and the Photoshops and all that, then you see how pathetic his agenda has become. And I'll only show you one more message. He put this up. Trump commits to pursuing Russia-Ukraine peace. They're not ready yet, but something is gonna happen. How far have we fallen from on day one, I'll cure this thing? Now we're hundreds of days in and he's like, well, it's not gonna happen anytime soon, but like maybe something. I don't know. That does not make me feel all that great about your administration. I'm gonna need some more Photoshops to support you, buddy. Anyway, that's unfortunately all the time we have for the show today. But coming up tomorrow on Friday to assist not only in the analysis of the news, but also our garbage people of the week, Trey Crowder is gonna be here. I'm sure it's gonna be a ton of fun, so definitely tune in. For now though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.
everyone, and welcome to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off, never fear. Just looking at our rundown, we have incredible stories for you today. We also have, comedian, PhD candidate, Rebel HQ extraordinaire, Elliot Morgan is here. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Sharon. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. I'm back on the same continent, so I feel it's nice to be so
And how
close to you.
was that? I think you were going to, I don't know, was it Popeyes, Taco Bell, McDonald's?
It was okay, Sharon. Thank you for bringing it up. The Taco Bell over in Scotland, I cannot vouch for it, and I don't want to go
Nah.
off on a soapbox here, but
Okay.
avoid it.
Okay.
Stay away.
Tastes different. They
Yeah,
use real
totally.
meat, perhaps. Don't sue. I know I don't want to do this. And come after me, not this incredible network. Taco Bell, you're good to go. My daughter loves it.
Yeah,
Okay, does that clear things up? What do you say, Elliot? We get started, and then I want to know
yeah.
more about what you're up to because
Let's
we've got
dive
an
in.
incredible show. It's just a mirror, folks. Again, this is what's going on out there, and we just bring it to you. We don't make this stuff up. Um, and I had to give that preamble because of this first one. I mean, when I woke up to this, I said, well, this is a hoax. I mean, why would he do that? Jimmy Swaggart didn't even do that, right? Remember all the tears? Did he beg for money to get to heaven? That's what Donald Trump has done, begging MAGA followers for donations for him to get his eternal, everlasting reward. If you believe in that, heaven. Here are the details. Remember when Trump was advertising selling Bibles on his website? Well, once again, will you look at that? He's using religion, means to an end. He's doing it to raise money from his base. Trump sent out a campaign fundraiser email with the subject line, I want to try and get to heaven. Emphasis on the try. Huh. You see it there? Is anybody going to bite on this? Perhaps. We'll see. Email framed his political survival, legal battles too, as evidence of divine purpose and asked supporters to contribute $15 during the 24-hour Trump fundraising blitz. Details via Newsweek. Now, Trump's campaign email used the subject line, I want to try to get to heaven, presenting the former president's political victories, his survival of last year's attempted assassination as evidence of divine intervention and a purpose to make America great again. The email presented past campaign events, including Trump's 2016 victory over Hillary Clinton, his impeachment acquittals, ongoing legal battles as part of a spiritual narrative that justified the fundraising appeal. In the campaign email, President Donald Trump said, last year I came millimeters from death when that bullet pierced through my skin. My triumphant return to the White House was never supposed to happen. Another thing to blame the would-be assassin for. Um, let's pause there if we can, Elliot. I don't know what your beliefs are, and I'm not even going to ask you, but there are people who are devout Christians. They hold their faith, high regard. It's number one in their life. What was your reaction when you saw this from Donald Trump today, this morning?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very Christian environment, Christian home. I have a deep affinity for Christianity. Definitely don't look at it the same way that maybe a lot of people in America do, but I love it. And it's always kind of depressing to see him kind of, poop all over every principle that I was taught as a kid and to have the people who taught me those principles immediately fall for it. But my theory here is that Trump found out, or at least somewhat believes, that heaven is a place that is filled with like gold paved roads and you can get gold mansions and you can wear a gold crown based on all of your good deeds. And I think that's probably the selling point for him. I think that his goal is to be surrounded in the afterlife by the same interior design ideas that he has brought to the White House. So that is my conspiracy theory, at least.
Works for me.
Yeah.
As you know, as our audience probably understands, Donald Trump is also a believer, deep believer. Didn't say in what, but he says, hey, listen, he finds inspiration from the Bible and from God, his creator. I believe that God saved me for one reason, to make America great again. I certainly wasn't supposed to survive an assassin's bullet, but by the grace of the Almighty God, I did. So now I've no other choice but to answer the call to duty. But I can't do it alone. So Trump had recently discussed concerns about his afterlife. He's afraid, isn't he? I would be too. And who am I to judge? I'm not sitting in judgment. I'm just saying that it kind of says if you do this, you're not going up there. But who knows? Okay. Trump said he wanted to try and get to heaven on Fox and Friends. Listen.
I just want to end it. I want to end it. You know, we're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, you know, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons.
Maybe J.D. Vance can talk to the Pope for him. Didn't the Pope say, in no uncertain terms, this Pope, the last Pope? I don't really like what's going on, what you're doing on the immigration front. Here's the thing. Donald Trump, Elliot, believes that if he just does enough good deeds over here, I mean, he's very compartmentalized, right? Because as I looked at the shot of Donald Trump and the evil one, Putin, who was with Xi, and what's that other guy in North Korea who writes love letters? That guy too, the axis of evil, whatever you want to call it. I wondered, would they all meet there? Does everyone get to go? And who are we to judge or question someone's faith? What say you about this thing where money equates to, well, good deeds and then a pathway to heaven? It must mean poor people. Well, you're not going to get there. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like part and parcel, I think, of the American way. It'd be like, you know, it's all about what you do, it's all about your actions, and it's all about how much money you can earn while you're here. My guess is that he's going to probably try to take some lawyers with him to heaven so that they can kind of make a case for him. I also do wonder if on from his perspective, if there is a tongue-in-cheek kind of like thing here where he's kind of winking at his base and going like, I know I'm kind of one of the worst people ever, but I would still like to go to heaven, just so you know I haven't forgotten about the idea of heaven. Or if he actually is kind of nearing like the end of his days here and actually is having these kinds of existential thoughts. If he is, and this is what he's doing with those thoughts, then I think that's incredibly funny. If not, you know, a little predictable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's human to wonder what happens next. Is there an afterlife? Do we just disappear? I don't know if I believe the wink tongue in cheek to the supporters.
Who knows? Yeah.
I think he's actually believing that people are stupid or will overlook certain things or everything. He might have winked at Melania and said, I know I'm the worst. You know it, I know it. But this is a grift. It'll be interesting. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, no, I think it will be incredibly interesting. And I also think it has to make his followers feel a little weird when they have to just be like, oh man, here's another example of how he's just going against everything we believe. And I think that especially in America, evangelical Christians have done an excellent job of bracketing off Trump amidst everything. They love the fact, I think, that he kind of embodies everything that is antithetical to their faith while still pushing for agendas that they themselves feel passionate about. So I think he's kind of done the con man thing, and he's still trying to do the con man thing, and we'll see if it works. in heaven. I have a feeling that St. Peter can probably see like what he's doing behind closed doors, and all of the things that people guess about. They probably have a fly on the wall perspective for. So I don't think he's going to make it. And good luck to him. And if he does, great. Like if we all pass on and we go to heaven and it's just Trump there, sure, I'll want to hang out with him and say like, hey, what were you thinking literally every moment of your life?
If I'm fortunate enough to get there, I'm going to rope off my property to keep him out. I'm sorry. I know that's not, the godly thing to do, but would I
Might be.
question God? Why did you do this? Why'd you let me? I might be too scared to do that.
Just
We'll
security
keep
system.
following it, and we'll look for the numbers and see how many people give. If he just would be transparent about this whole Epstein thing, maybe that'll get him in. We'll see. All right, let's move on to this one. 5 men deported to African prison. They've been denied due process by the Trump administration. The attorney for 5 men who have been deported to Eswatini prison accused Trump's deportation program of denying them due process. Well, we've heard this before. We can tell you none of the men have a connection there. They don't know anyone there. They have no familiarity with the people, the food. Just decided, this would be a good vacation for you. The 5 men deported by the United States to Eswatini in July have been held in a maximum security prison in the African nation for several weeks, 7, in fact, charged. Nope. No charges, no explanation, no access either to legal counsel. Their lawyers, we should tell you, said Tuesday, this is the condition they're living in. They accused the Trump administration's third country deportation program of denying their clients due process. This is something very fundamental. You don't have to even be an American to get due process. Denied. So let's tell you more about these unfortunate 4 men. AP reporting that the New York-based Legal Aid Society said that it was representing one of the men, Jamaican national Orville Victoria, and that he had been inexplicably and illegally sent to Eswatini when his home country was willing to accept him back. So he could go back to Jamaica. I've been there plenty of times, where he's familiar, family, circumstance, support. But we said, no, you're going to one of those S-hole countries. Isn't that what Donald Trump says about Africa? The worst. So it's not like they were sending him on a vacation. Well, that contradicted the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which said when it deported the 5 men with criminal records that they were being sent to Eswatini because their home countries refused to take them. Jamaica's foreign minister has also said that the Caribbean country did not refuse to take back deportees. Victoria was the first of at least 20 deportees sent by the U.S. to various African nations in the last 2 months to be identified publicly. Could be more. Who knows? We'll find out at some point, I guess. The deportations are part of the Trump administration's expanding third country program to send migrants to countries in Africa that they have no ties to get them off U.S. soil. Since July, the U.S. has deported migrants to South Sudan, Eswatini, Rwanda, while a 4th African nation, Uganda, says it has agreed to a deal in principle with the U.S. to accept deportees. Again, the AP with the reporting here. Deal means money, by the way, in case you didn't know. Okay. Deal means cash for royalty. Now, Victoria served a 25-year prison sentence. He was granted parole in 2021, Legal Aid Society said, but was now being held in Eswatini's main maximum security prison for an undetermined period of time. That's despite completing the sentence. The sentence is over. U.S. Homeland Security Department said that he was convicted of murder. Not good. Agency posted on X in reference to a New York Times report on Astoria saying that it will continue enforcing the law at full speed without apology and apparently without due process. Legal Aid Society said that Eswatini lawyers acting on behalf of all 5 men being held in prison there has been repeatedly denied access to them by prison officials since they arrived in the tiny southern African nation bordering South Africa. That was in mid-July. The other 4 men, citizens of Cuba, Laos, Vietnam, Yemen. A separate lawyer representing the two men from Laos and Vietnam said his clients also served their criminal sentences inside the US and had been released into the community. Suddenly, without warning, no explanation from either the US or Eswatini government. They were arbitrarily arrested and sent to a country to which they have never, ever been. Lawyer Tin Thang Wen said in a statement. They're now being punished indefinitely for a sentence they already served. You know, if you're one who could care less about cruelty and have at it, maybe you care more about money. Why have them serve their sentences here if you could just send them somewhere else to serve the time? It's probably cheaper. I mean, if you're that kind of a person, I don't know. Said the US government was orchestrating secretive third country transfers with no meaningful legal process, resulting in indefinite detention. Department of Homeland Security responded. They're claiming the New York Times is peddling a sob story of a criminal, illegal alien murderer. US Homeland Security said those two men had been convicted of charges including child rape, second-degree murder. Not good. I don't want any part of these people. But, I mean, there's a but, folks. Third lawyer, Alma David, said she represented the two men from Yemen and Cuba who are also being held in the same prison, denied access to lawyers. She said she had been told by the head of the Eswatini prison that only the US ambassador could grant access to the men. I mean, if they're out of here, they're out of here. Why can't the new non-related country handle things, communication, lawyers, access? Either you're in it or you're out of it. Pick which one. Since when does the US Embassy have jurisdiction over Eswatini's national prison? She said in a statement, adding the men weren't told a reason for their detention. No lawyer has been permitted to visit them. David said all five were being held at US taxpayers' expense. How much more? Look, folks, we don't have any more money. Do you want our blood too? Yeah, probably. Authorities in South Sudan have given little information on where 8 men sent there in early July are being held or what their fate might be. They were also described by U.S. authorities as dangerous criminals from South Sudan, Cuba, Laos, Mexico, Myanmar, Vietnam. Look, the minute you talk about assaulting children, murder, well, I don't want you around me. And maybe even after you serve your sentence. Although, as an American citizen, I realize that once your punishment is over, I may not have a right to keep you away from me and my neighborhood. Some things, schools and the like, if you're a certain kind of predator. But this is just more of the same, is it not? Does it surprise you? Because it doesn't surprise me, Elliot, that these other countries are going for it. Participants, they may not even like us on most days, but you dangle a little cash. Sure, we'll take the worst of the worst, the most violent criminals. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a deal and they're falling in line. And I think it's, a little sad. I also think just in terms of the conversation, it's a really difficult one to have because, as you said, these aren't maybe the best people at times. They maybe are some of the worst. However, the conversation around due process is about exactly these kinds of situations. You still get some kind of due process, some kind of representation. And that I think should be a point for like patriotism. People, we should be like, this is one of the best things about how we treat people in this country is that they are afforded due process and they are afforded representation so that they can at least make a case for themselves and they can be found guilty by a jury of their peers. This isn't that. And I think that that is a subtle point that gets completely washed away the moment you recognize like, oh yeah, these are charges. And the statement that the Homeland Security made sounds like it was written by like someone who works for the New York Post. Because the moment you go, hey, due process is a good thing, and they go, but they're a murderer, then it is very easy to just shift people's opinion on it and have them forget that actually due process is something that we don't want to take lightly. And it's something that you might actually need in the future, God forbid, and we want to afford it to people.
Well, I know an occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who leaned on all due process and then some. It seemed to even be expanded for him. Okay.
Who could that be?
Yeah, exactly. Good friends with this lawyer. He's a good guy. what am I going to say? He just loves difficult cases and doing what he does. He'd be who I'd call if I had all these felonies piling up and I had kept documents in my toilet. That said, you're right. And it's always the Trump administration who deems people this and that. And listen, these people we're talking about, these men may be the worst of the worst. But as you mentioned, it's not about that, homie. And I don't even want to take the bait. It's supposed to be across the board. This is what we're doing. But every time the Trump administration wants to color outside the lines and do more cruelty, that's really what they're doing here. They put the label first, worst of the worst, and then they say that means we can do whatever we want. Final words, thoughts?
Yeah, and there's like I think a joy that certain people get watching this kind of stuff unfold, and it's a very dark kind of thing. I think it speaks to some of our worst impulses, which is ironic because they're doing so from this kind of morally righteous, look at how bad these people are, and yet they're endorsing a kind of like system-wide level of corruption and just unfairness. And so it's like, look, which one is it? If you want to play the moral high ground, then you should do so and embrace due process and not just chalk it all up to, oh, well, who cares? They're bad. It's like, yeah, they are bad. That's why you need due process. These things are connected. They're not opposites, I guess. At least that's how I see it.
And you don't have to be mental. These are simple things, and these are the same people who constantly pivot, as you're mentioning, who you cut in line at the Dairy Queen. Their granddaughter can't ride a ride at Six Flags, and they're not having it. But somebody who they deem disposable, who cares?
Who cares?
Got work to do. Make my cone a double. Where are the sprinkles? They just want to keep on living. It's disgusting. It's another one we'll keep following. Let's go to Kentucky. You perhaps want to check on a loved one. You haven't heard from them. It's called a welfare check. It's where police show up to make sure you're okay, to ensure your welfare, right? It's something to help, not hurt, except in this situation. Kentucky cop breaks woman's arm during a welfare check. Yep, here's video of the incident.
See, that's why you're an
take you to jail.
Why?
Right?
Because you're being
an idiot to me, okay?
Nope.
So stop it. Let me try to help you.
Take me to jail because I'm cussing at you?
Yes, because you're yelling and screaming and being about it.
I am.
Okay? So if you keep it up, I'm going to take you to jail. Turn around for me.
Stop!
We're to jail.
No, why?
Stop.
Get off of me. I don't want to go to jail.
I'll give a what you want.
Oh my God! Let go of my arm! You let go of my arm! I think you're my arm!
That's
Just let go of my arm!
all right. Sit down for us so we can get you an ambulance.
Sit down.
Folks, I didn't see any blood, but I could barely stomach watching that. They didn't believe her and they didn't even care about the arm. And now you can't talk back, right? Police state, I'm warning you, girl. Wow. Give you the details behind this one. According to Atlanta Black Star, Kentucky cop with a long history of lawsuits against him, has just been slapped with another 2 lawsuits. What about jail? Why? For abusing his power, marking the 6th and 7th lawsuit against him within the past 4 years. But Covington police officer Douglas Ulrich, who has boasted in the past of violating every department policy, appears to be well protected by his department because he continues to abuse his power without regard for any consequences. The first of the 2 recent lawsuits involves a woman named Kathleen Keats, sitting in a car on the phone in front of a store October 27, 2024, when Ulrich tapped on the window telling her they had received a call that she was suicidal. Okay, so Keats informed Ulrich she was not suicidal on the phone, on the phone. But he ordered her out of the car to search her for weapons. Say what now? He then took her phone while he and another cop grabbed her wrist. I'm sorry, she was in her car on the phone, so not on a bridge, over the railing, about to jump, and they had to seize, had to spring into action to save this woman from herself. Bizarre. What do you mean search her for weapons? The phone, I guess. So they grab her up. Key to inform the cops she had just learned her boyfriend had cheated on her, was obviously distraught at being manhandled by the cops. Wouldn't you be? I'd be that way whether he cheated or not. Okay? Don't touch me. Even though she had committed no crime, she'd done nothing, folks. I'm just trying to take control of you because you're acting crazy. You know that thing where people project? They're the ones behaving this way, but they're like, whoa, you're dangerous. No, Officer Ulrich, you seem to be acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The woman was sitting in her car. Cheating happens every day, unfortunately. Actually, none of your business, but she did volunteer it. Lawsuit states that earlier that day, a pair of Covington cops entered her home without a warrant, no probable cause, to search for a man who lived next door. Okay, so she's had it. So she was still upset about that, accusing them of being liars as they frisked her for weapons. And the cops did not like that, so they decided to arrest her. Ulrich yanking her left arm behind her back so hard that an arm bone fractured. Just imagine the pain. In another lawsuit, second lawsuit stems from an incident that took place March 14th, 2025, after Ulrich pulled over a couple for, quote, illegal tints. But he did not tell them the reason for that stop until after he ordered them out of the car and frisked them. However, he never used a tint meter to measure the darkness of the tints, which is required by law to make that infraction valid. Frankie Torres, who was pregnant, and her partner, Cecil Jones, had just left a funeral for Jones's grandmother when they were pulled over. Jones specifically said he did not consent to having his car searched, but Ulrich claimed he smelled marijuana. This is, America. I was about to say this is crazy, but unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with, folks. Earlier this year, Atlanta Black Star reported on another lawsuit filed by attorney Jameer Davis against Ulrich on behalf of a Black man named Damian Connor, who was pulled out of his car during a traffic stop for using his phone while driving after the cop claimed to have smelled weed. That was a lie. Connor works for the railroad where he is drug tested regularly, so he does not even consume marijuana. So you're just running around, pulling people over, pulling them out of their car, going off about Mary Jane. Everybody's got this Mary Jane. He smells it. Okay. And it's just not true. Local attorney Jameer Davis, who has filed 4 of the 7 lawsuits against Ulrich, has made it, his mission now to hold the cop accountable for his abusive and unconstitutional behavior towards citizens. Also illegal, if true. Illegal behavior, criminal behavior. Davis said his aggressive litigation against the problem cop has led to Covington police officers, wouldn't you know it, retaliating against him and his staff, prompting him to file his own lawsuit now. That was earlier this month. He's representing himself. Retaliation includes pulling the attorney over on several occasions without legal basis, driving by his law office in police cars and making threatening gestures towards his staff. Honestly. Look at the picture. I believe him already. And if I'm on that jury, which now I probably can't be, I'm going to give you a lot of money. Good picture. Davis had already become familiar with Ulrich's history of abuse, providing Atlanta Black Star with the cop's personnel file, which contains a page where in 2014, Ulrich bragged in a text chat with other cops that, quote, I violate every policy. I have his personnel file, and man, it is egregious. It is bad, Davis said at the time. The guy has over 209 pages worth of personnel records. He's wrecked probably 15 vehicles. He's been found at fault for over 9 wrecks, the attorney continued. He's improperly handled evidence against the orders of his supervisor. And his thing now is to immediately come up to a vehicle and say he smells weed, just so that he can search it. And a lot of times he's not finding anything, Davis added. Rather than terminate Ulrich, officers from the Covington Police Department have retaliated against Davis and his staff in the hopes of intimidating him for further exposing their unlawful tactics, the lawyer is claiming. Well, this is serial behavior, folks, if true. And by the way, I'd rather have a teenage boy with his learner's permit driving than this Covington officer. How many wrecks? 9 are your fault. And yet you and your gang members on the force, that's what you are if you are participating in this nonsense with the leader of the gang, and you're going and you're threatening and you're retaliating and you're okay with people being pulled out of their cars. This is serial conduct, misconduct. And I hate, Ellie, that we always go to the money. And I understand that we have a system set up here, okay, which is supposed to work for us. If someone violates you, money may not be able to bring your loved one back or cure things, but that is that part of the civil system. But why are we not talking about criminal behavior here? He lied on the railroad worker. He's doing all of these things. Where's the body cam footage? I'm a taxpayer. I don't live there in that jurisdiction, but who pays for this? All these lawsuits because of one boneheaded guy, one fool who has a badge and a gun, who can't even drive? Honestly, I hope that you can maybe, and maybe it's a rhetorical question. I just don't understand this mob mentality where nobody says, dude, I'm eating donuts. I'm not with you, homie. No. What do you think?
I mean, I love a donut reference. Always in regard to cops. And I also think that, I mean, just the line cop breaks woman's arm during a welfare check is itself kind of a microcosm for, I think, a much larger issue. Sharon, you brought up also the idea of projection. And I think that is absolutely what's going on in a lot of these situations. And I think that projection is only strengthened when like you're surrounded by like-minded individuals. Like when you watch that footage, there's multiple police officers there and they're all surrounding one person. For some reason, anytime these videos surface and they go viral, and whenever it's this group of police officers, it always seems to just make the issue worse. And I think that they all project on them. They all see a threat where there isn't one, and they see red and they go for it, and then they protect one another. And it's super gross. I think the crime that this woman committed was probably she just annoyed them, and that was enough for them. I also think there's a real cleverness in constantly pointing to the theoretical, hypothetical scent of marijuana, because how do you track that? How do you say that that wasn't true? How do you tell someone that what you thought you smelled, you didn't smell? So I think that's just a perfect way for them to have an in that it gets everything completely dismissed the moment it comes to light.
Yeah, and I think, by the way, about the marijuana, these jurisdictions should do whatever you want, but they should remove that as that threshold to be
Right.
conducting these searches. We're not going to just start searching because you smell Mary Jane Ulrich. And if he's smelling it so much, I think he should be drug tested. I don't know if he's doing it or not, but perhaps you're bringing the scent with you. I don't know, officer. I really don't know. But I just hate that these things are adjudicated and it's only the money. And very rarely are people like this guy with a very low standard, apparently. This is low standard. They're rarely criminally charged. And now we're casting a wide net for more immigration officers, right? ICE. Well, you kind of lower the bar there too. We'll give you bonuses. There's going to be a lot more of these boneheads walking around frisking people. Don't even tap on my window. I don't want your fingerprints there. I don't want you coming near me. Perfectly justified. I mean, that's how I see it. Anyway, can I tell you, Elliot, I'm a little intimidated by you. You're not just funny and you travel the globe, but a PhD. I mean, that's fantastic. That says,
Theoretically.
I'm brilliant. Should I call you doctor? I think I should have been calling you doctor.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is a joke I make where I'm like, as soon as I get this PhD, which I'm not there yet, I'm just going to force everyone, including the people at
Okay.
Starbucks, to call me, just because it's like I'm not one of the real doctors, but I like to pretend
Real
I am, and
doctor.
that's what's
I
important.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And you're so humble. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off. Much more to come.
I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care. I don't care, I don't believe in it, and I have the right, based on our Constitution, to not believe in it.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
No one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country, indisputably progressive.
But now we say the time has come for regime change in American television.
The Young Turks Network.
You have the Young Turks saying this is the time to fight for our values.
Young Turks is the oldest left media institution I believe that there is. Real front runner in the online media space.
You guys might know us.
Biggest online left of center outlet that exists.
All of you know the Young Turks?
People from this district heard about Justice Democrats by watching your show.
Thanks to the Young Turks for covering Trayvon Martin's case early on when few people were covering.
They don't stop, I won't stop. Racism won't stop, so I won't stop.
Species are at risk of going extinct. Major media outlets did not dedicate much time at all to that.
We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks.
That 300 million is a pretty good number, Well, that's the size of the US population. You know what our next target is? The size of the entire world.
We just crossed 5 billion views on YouTube.
I mean, imagine 10 years ago thinking one day, we would have looked at you like, are you nuts?
Young Turks has just passed another milestone. 25 billion lifetime views.
Damn.
Too strong, way too strong. That's 25 billion times someone watched the progressive message delivered to people all over the world. You know who helped to do that? You guys did. Our members and our audience are amazing, and they helped us to reach 2 generations, both millennials and Gen Z. They're both super progressive, and I gotta tell you, we're just getting started. Thank you.
Corruption, injustice, the system is rigged against you. Every day we're blasted by a flurry of terrible news from every angle, which can make it challenging to stay positive and know how to fight back. The Damage Report is your solution. I'm Johnny DeRola, and my daily morning show cuts through the noise and exposes the real damage being done to our country, the world, and how we can fight back against it. Corporate greed crushing workers? We'll name names. Politicians selling you out for their corporate overlords? We've got the receipts. Climate disaster, economic collapse, the rise of fascism. No spin, no establishment talking points, just the truth that you need to survive and resist. But it's not all doom and gloom. We'd love to have you join the Dragon Squad, our community of positive-minded activists who turn the day's news into positive action. With new episodes every weekday, listen to The Damage Report to get honest news, unflinching commentary, and daring coverage you won't find anywhere else. Listen to The Damage Report on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, because understanding the damage is the first step.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. I'm Sharon Reed alongside our special guest co-host, Elliot Morgan. Where are you today, Elliot?
I am in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, Sharon. Okay, it is sunny. It's about I think only like 130 degrees outside, so it's pretty nice.
Okay. National Guard is cleared out, or you all still being protected?
I've kicked most of them out. I'm still finding them, here and there. I found one under my bed this morning, but he was cool about it and just left peacefully. So
well, they need a nap too.
Exactly.
Let's get to some of your comments unofficially, because we didn't put up a poll on this, but I can tell you that our TYT members do not think Donald Trump has any chance of getting to heaven, no no matter how much money he raises. Ronald Fan, you first. We appreciate you. Happy Indisputable Thursday, Sharon and Elliot. I hope you both are doing awesome. I'm doing well. Okay, Elliot's great too. 2 thumbs up. Next TYT reporter on Trump's request to get to heaven. He could get all the money in the world given to him, and he wouldn't get anywhere close to anything like heaven. Okay. Shelby says he doesn't believe in God or heaven. This is simply another one of his grifts. Sure. See that. I understand that is why people are supposed to be rich while alive. Don't understand how cash gets one into heaven. And that's the thing, I mentioned Jimmy Swaggart during the story. There's this technique, prosperity gospel is what they call it. The problem is that's different than salvation, and people confuse that. So I've read. And that's the problem. One more on Trump and his nonsense. Javar Ellis, the Midwest Dragon, says, may I remind you that Trump had people worshiping him? Of course, he ain't going to get into heaven. St. Peter's might as well pull the lever and don't pull the wrong lever. Oh, okay. A deportation. Let's review. King O. Hart, 2005 says, we can't keep illegally deporting. We can keep doing that or make realistic legal pathways for entry. That's a good point. I mean, just imagine what you're spending to send people all over the place where they have no connection just to get them out of this country. Just imagine what we're spending on that, just to be cruel. Oh, well, he's doing it. Because again, folks, cruelty is the point. I'm sure that's already on a bunch of t-shirts, hats too. Listen, so we already had the one story of a woman who was accosted while sitting in her car. Now a lawsuit filed, arm broken. Okay. What is it about? I'm just sitting in my car minding my business, and suddenly I'm being attacked by you. Okay, it's a theme. And it runs particularly deep within a certain part of our population, the ones that are self-deputized. They don't even need a uniform, a badge. Sometimes they unfortunately carry weapons, like in this next case. It's a weapon. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
That's all you can do, you punk-ass bitch! Punk-ass bitch! Punk-ass stupid bitch! Get out here, stab you in your throat, you bitch! And did, bitch! And did, bitch!
My daughter will, God, it just really scares me. Soon she'll get a permit, she'll start driving. We've been talking about the rules of the road, things to look out for, road rage, that kind of thing. In fact, I just told her this morning on the way to school, look, if someone honks, don't honk back. If someone makes a gesture, don't do it back. We didn't cover this, though. When an unhinged male Karen comes up to you in tattered cargo pants and maces you while you're sitting in your car, well, he would be a punk ass B. It's what he is. Now, I don't want her retaliating, but this is outlandish. It's outlandish. And here's what the poster of that video wrote in the description. Quote, got maced and called the N-word today, so that was fun. Hey, look at this fool. FYI, I never even left my car. So now you don't even have to do anything. You're just sitting in your vehicle, and all of a sudden, this pale monster runs up to you with some kind of expired spray and goes to town. Am I wrong, Elliot, or is it just getting worse? It's not tamping down, right? It's getting worse.
Oh yeah, I think everything is getting worse. That's my big my big theory on this. But I mean, with this lady in particular, I mean, I could listen to her go off on that dude for hours, I hate to say. You shouldn't retaliate. Like, that's bad. And for sure, I think road rage is a really special thing. I think it's really easy to dehumanize people when you're kind of locked in your little metal cage of a car. But man, if you are going to retaliate, like, you don't want to come up against someone like this, because it's just, they're going to rip you to shreds. And I thought the words she spoke were, entertaining. If maybe I don't recommend them, but good on her, I guess.
Yeah, and if we were to look up punk AB in the, I don't know, some kind of dictionary, they've got those that have alternative, that kind of
It's
thing.
in there. Yeah.
It's
Urban
definitely,
Dictionary.
right? And maybe even his picture. I don't know if they sometimes have pictures, but he'd be illustrative of the term. It's just perfect for it. Perfect.
Yep. A mugshot.
Wow. Like I said, they're everywhere, self-deputized. How about a double dose?
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
You're still free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please. It's the only way.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Do we want to chat?
I know that your protocol is.
So you're trespassing, so we got to leave now. Unless you want to be in
We're
handcuffs.
not trespassing. You haven't notified us that we're trespassing. Number one.
What did I just say to you? You're trespassing. Let's go.
Number one.
I don't want to
two,
arrest you guys.
You're not going to arrest us. Number two
So let's
is
leave.
that
We got to go. We got to go.
protocol
Let's
is,
go. Let's
can
go.
we calm down for 1 second? Is if we ask you to
I
turn
don't
the
want.
body
I don't
cam
want to
off.
deal with this. Let's
Okay,
go.
no, I understand you don't want to deal with it, but the
Let's go.
protocol is, and your protocol is if I ask you to turn off the body cam, you have to turn it off, and that's your protocol.
She's a lawyer, so she knows.
Well, that's lawyer stuff, so that's not true. So we got to go.
No, it is. That's law.
I'm an AG. I'm an AG.
Good for you. I don't give a shit. Let's go. We're going. Let's go. We're leaving. We're leaving.
Please don't put your hands on us.
Can you get your children out of here? Like, I don't know why.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Come on, there are two full-grown women and mothers of children. All right. Hey. You're just being detained. You're just being detained.
I'm an AG. It's the new, don't you know who I am? I'm an AG. You see, and that's the problem. That doesn't mean you can't be a Karen. I mean, you give them a cocktail or two. I don't know if she, but you give them a cocktail, maybe some highlights and a law degree, and they're just, you can't even stomach them, right? Because now, they really do think they rule the world. I love this guy. I never rooted for someone to have the cuffs slapped on her so hard. Karen update on this one. Prosecutor gets 6 months of unpaid leave. I'm an AG. Well, why is she even still in the job? Her and her sidekick. Remember this woman? Special Assistant Attorney General Devon Flanagan, age 34, arrested in Newport, Rhode Island last month for trespassing. That, according to, her office, Attorney General's office. Well, I bet she's very annoying. You see her in the break room, you turn around. That's what I just turn around. I'm not even going to engage with you, Devon, because she's annoying. I can tell you she's been like this her whole life. Officers responded to a call from a restaurant late that night to investigate the report of an unwanted party, according to the arrest report. I have an update for you, but I do want to remind you more. Let's give you even more of the embarrassment, the footage captured. She's not going to live it down. Good. No. I think behind the scenes, they're telling us we've seen enough of her. Okay. Actually, we've seen her act before, over and over again. Honestly. Was she in your dorm room in college? Because I had a few of her in mine. Might even be the same lady. Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Naranja's office began a review of the incident upon learning of Flanagan's arrest, with Naranja calling her behavior, quote, inexcusable. I would use the word sloppy. Stronger effect. Spokesperson for the AG's office later confirmed Flanagan would be placed on unpaid leave beginning this week. Flanagan mistreated the Newport Police Department and embarrassed herself, the office, and frankly, me, Naranja said in a statement Monday. We hold our attorneys to the highest personal and professional standards, and Ms. Flanagan plainly did not meet those standards here. He said he met with Flanagan, levied a 6-month unpaid leave. I sincerely hope she takes this time to reflect on the seriousness of her conduct and makes corrective changes in her life. Naranha added, she's had a long road ahead of her. She has one. But I believe that in the long run, our worst moments can inspire us to become better people. I meant to look up her boss's record. Is this the empathy and compassion he treats people, he adjudicates charges? Just asking for a friend. I hope so. Hope so. Better people. Just give her a chance. Everybody makes a mistake. August 14th, Special Assistant Attorney General Devon Flanagan mistreated the Newport Police Department, embarrassed herself, the office, he said. That statement about holding to a higher standard. He also acknowledged that, this incident is going to be hard for her to recover from professionally, regardless of what happens vis-a-vis her employment with us. She's going to have a long time coming back from this. It's just really unfortunate. Why are you feeling sorry for her? And I get it. People make mistakes. It's not that I don't want her to be able to have some relief after making a mistake, have the ability to make amends. It's that not everybody gets the apology. She did the offense, and it's like he's saying, oh, poor thing, give her another shot. Flanagan and her friend, she's an attorney, were arrested for willful trespass, misdemeanor. According to the arrest report, her friend was additionally arrested for disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, both misdemeanors, according to the arrest report. She pleaded no contest to the charges against her. So I guess that's taking responsibility legally. Flanagan has been assigned to the Criminal Division's Appellate Unit, according to Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Naranja's office. She's been with the office for approximately 7 years. Her lawyer declined to comment on the case Monday. Okay, so she's been in the office for 7 years. It's obviously an accomplishment. It's special to her, Elliot. So therefore, I don't believe this is the first time she's uttered, I'm the AG, I'm assistant AG. I'm sure of it. I don't believe it's the first time she's thrown her weight around. I want to know your thoughts on the punishment here, the statement from the Attorney General, and whether she should still be part of that particular unit.
I think the statement from the AG sounds a little bit like the end of an old Full House episode where it's just sort of this like, listen, we're all going to get along and we're all going to heal from this together. There's like a kumbaya element to it. I think is a little silly. Also, in terms of the clips we've seen in the past few minutes, I would say that the male Karen we were looking at, that was like spoken word poetry when that woman went off on that dude. These ladies hit a tone that is the total opposite of that, I would say. And I think the real victims in this scenario are going to be, and I'm going on a limb here, it might be the bartenders that have to hang out with her during her 6 months of unpaid leave or whatever, because I have a feeling she's not a great tipper. And I have a feeling that she's probably, as you said, thrown out that AG term once or twice. And so it's nice to be on the side of the law enforcement in this situation too. It's just like, okay, yeah, no, she's definitely being disruptive and she's had this I'm an AG, whatever in her pocket. And I'm glad that when she finally pulled it out, it came and bit her back.
Yeah. I think, and this is probably unfair, but I think she fancies herself, and we'll see it more over her 6 months unpaid leave, as like a, Carrie Bradshaw wannabe, her
absolutely.
version of Sex in the City. I will say this, perhaps what happened here, as obnoxious as it is a good thing for her. Maybe it will help her adjudicate others more fairly, or maybe it'll just have her adjudicate other slurring blondes more fairly. I don't know. Okay. But do you think, I'll give you the last word, that this could be helpful to her and those that come before her?
Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think, as you said, like the slurring blondes is very funny to me.
Yeah.
And this is something that is learned behavior and very deep behavior. And I don't know that an unpaid leave is going to do it. And I also think, you do see people make mistakes, as you're saying. And it's like you want people to learn from those mistakes. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith that a 6 month unpaid leave is going to do that.
I don't think she should step foot in a courtroom. Okay, just paperwork for you. She's got to recuse herself. Anytime somebody's acting sloppy in a bar and charged with disorderly conduct. I mean, if I'm on the stand defending myself, I say, well, it's no worse than you. What about you, Devon?
Yep.
Okay, she's got to recuse. Okay, this is indisputable. PhD. Even though he's not quite there yet, I'm going to call him Dr. Elliot Morgan.
Ooh.
We love having him on. So cultured, so brilliant, so funny.
Goodness, keep
And
going.
there's so much. I can do that. Maybe I'll do it after the break and we'll learn what you're up to and a lot more to come, especially this next story. You're going to want to stick around. Stay with us.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Rich and powerful men abusing, assaulting, and abandoning young women. These rich and powerful men donate to the politicians in Washington, D.C., play golf with the elites in Washington, D.C. They are foreign leaders who we don't want to offend. They interact with our intelligence agencies that we don't want to disobey. There is something rotten in Washington.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
All those congressmen you just saw there are on the record as protecting the child rapists who were clients of Epstein. They have not prosecuted a single person outside of Epstein and Maxwell.
Yep.
Not one.
Is Trump engaging in this cover-up because he's in the Epstein files?
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
So as the government keeps telling us, yeah, there's other people. Yeah, they raped those girls. So what? We're gonna cover up for them. But why are you guys so mad?
A nation that chooses impunity for the rich and the powerful at the expense of our children is a nation that has lost its moral purpose. Are you on the side of the people? Are you on the side of America's children? Or are you on the side of the rich and powerful who've had their thumb on the scales and shafted Americans for decades?
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one. In a media landscape poisoned by corporate influence, only one show stands apart from the rest, The Young Turks. As the longest running daily news show on the internet, The Young Turks is an impactful voice of unfiltered truth, one you can trust to deliver the daily news with authenticity and honesty. For nearly 2 decades, TYT has been breaking the mold of media. We're not here to echo the powerful or the elite, we're here to challenge them. Our mission is to give you accurate news, fight the establishment, and cover stories that mainstream media keeps you in the dark about, which matter to your everyday life. We've remained a leader in online news because of our established credibility with an engaged audience looking for alternative media that represents the real concerns of everyday Americans. Listen to The Young Turks, a news show that only answers to you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
How do you know if you're a populist? Easy. Do you work for the donor class? You don't? Great, you're a populist. Okay, so the establishment takes money from the donors and serves the donors. Mainstream media takes money from advertisers, and they are giant corporations themselves, and they work for themselves, and they work for the powerful. If you care about the average person, and you want the average person to have better health care, better wages, a better life, and you hate corruption, congrats, you're a populist.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, Elliot Morgan, Sharon Reed here for you. Just delivering the news, just holding up that mirror. This is what society gave us today. And here's what you have to say about it. TYT members first about that male Karen. I mean, Thomas of Thomas says this. I mean, the woman was sitting in her car. And I too rather loved her rant and, over and over. I'd loop it. It's another great, some kind of in a rap or something. Jay-Z could use it, someone, Kendrick. Karens are great at weaponizing their audacity. Well, it's true. Swear to right. Okay. You walked up to the vehicle, homie, and you took this mace out of your cargo pants and you just began unleashing it. And you had the nerve to utter the N-word and swear you could care less. I'm right. You're wrong. You're all the way wrong. What did I serve for says? Another tooth missing Karen. Don't take out your toothless aggression on other people. Was one of the Karens toothless today? Because I missed that. If so, and I don't know, Elliot, did you see it? And there's nothing, I mean, if you're, you need dental work, but
I heard soul. I didn't. I sensed a lack of any kind of. Yeah, I didn't see toothless. Definitely, a lack of maybe awareness that you're around other people and how absurd you sound. But I did see teeth. I did see.
Okay, well, soulless.
She's got that going for
her. You're lacking. Okay, and I don't know surgery or anything could fix it. About the Karen update, the legally blonde prosecutor. I liked Elle Woods. Was Elle Woods ever this obnoxious? I mean, she was obnoxious, but she worked for the greater good, right? She had a heart. She cared about things. They aren't all legally blonde material, Neon Death 07 says. It's true. Thomas of Thomas's back says the AG really thought she was going to legally blonde a cop with qualified immunity. And I don't know. I've got no love for cops who overcharge, but in this one, I'm with you partially. A little bit. Okay, we do have this next one for you. And every time I see his face, it's just heartbreaking because it's the epitome and it's an example of so many throughout the world, Americans, others who have been dealing with addiction. And then others who say, oh, perfect time to take advantage of it. Woman pleads guilty to providing drugs that killed Matthew Perry. 2 years ago, October 2023, Matthew Perry died at the age of 54. That's the picture that gets me every time. Autopsy report revealed he died from the acute effects of ketamine. Now, 2 years later, Yasmin Sanya, 42, a woman who's reportedly named the ketamine queen, has pleaded guilty. That happened Wednesday in Los Angeles federal court. 1 count of maintaining a drug-involved premises, 3 counts of distribution of ketamine, 1 count of distribution of ketamine resulting in death or serious bodily injury, according to the Department of Justice. Sanya had been scheduled to go on trial in late September. The dual US-UK citizenship has been in custody since her arrest, August 2024, nearly a year after Perry's death. Her attorney said Sanya has accepted responsibility. I mean, I hope so. She feels horrible. She's felt horrible from day one, her attorney, Mark Garagos, told reporters outside the courthouse on Wednesday. This has been a horrendous experience. Mark, I was going to try to get through this one without pausing. Horrendous for who? For your client? Or Matthew Perry's siblings, parents, people who loved him, people who read those horrific text messages that your client and others before and after he died were going back and forth, saying really crass, nasty things. So I don't know. I know he's got to defend her, but this has been a horrendous experience. That ain't the way I would have done it. But then again, I don't have a law degree, and my daughter didn't rep P. Diddy in the courtroom. All right, let's get back to this. Sentencing hearing is scheduled for December 10th. She faces a maximum sentence of 65 years in prison. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of time. Will she get it? We'll see. Perry died from a ketamine overdose October 28, 2023, at the age of 54, as we mentioned. The actor was discovered unresponsive in a jacuzzi at his LA home, police said. Autopsy report revealed he died from the acute effects of ketamine. ABC News with the details. In addition to Sanya, 4 other people were charged. They pleaded guilty in connection with Perry's death. Kenneth Iwamasa, Perry's live-in personal assistant. 2 doctors, Salvador Placencia, Mark Chavez, and Eric Fleming. Prosecutors said Sanya worked with Fleming to distribute ketamine to Perry, and that in October 2023, they sold the actor 51 vials of ketamine, which were provided to Iwamasa, the DOJ said. That's the assistant. Leading up to Perry's death, Iwamasa repeatedly injected Perry with the ketamine that Sanya supplied to Fleming. DOJ said in a press release last month. Specifically, October 28, 2023, Iwamasa injected Perry with at least 3 shots of Sanya's ketamine, which caused Perry's death. Iwamasa, who admitted in court documents to administering the ketamine on the day that Perry died, pleaded guilty in August 2024 to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine causing death. He's scheduled to be sentenced November 19th. In her plea agreement, Sanya also admitted to selling ketamine in connection with another overdose, prosecutors said. Victim Cody McLary died hours after Sanya sold him 4 vials of ketamine in August 2019, according to the DOJ. She additionally admitted to using her North Hollywood residence to, quote, store, package, and distribute narcotics, including ketamine and meth, that since at least June 2019, the DOJ said. Authorities found 79 vials of liquid ketamine, among other drugs and drug trafficking items such as money counting machines, in her residence. That was during a search in March 2023. People make mistakes. She's 42. I'm not going to call it a mistake. Matthew Perry was wildly famous, rich to his detriment. Okay, he could afford this habit that killed him. But there's just so much moral vacancy here that I see, right? You're the assistant, and I guess it's not your job to get into people's business, do as you're instructed, but I don't believe, and it shouldn't just be me measuring what I would have done or what I think I would have done, but I believe most people would have participated in this. They would have tried to help. They perhaps would have gone behind the celebrity's back and contacted those who care about him, friends, family, someone. Was this woman, was it a horrendous experience when she killed the other victim, Cody? She knew he died too, right? A couple days after, sold him the vials. I mean, whatever sentence she gets, Elliot, I don't know if it's going to be long enough to find her moral compass, her moral center. These people are sick, and there's a whole gang of them working in concert here. No one said too sick for me. I'm a little sick, but not that sick. None of them, they just kept going and going. Really? They'd still be at it if they hadn't killed a friend star. What say you?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This wasn't a mistake. I think it was an operation that got found out. And of course, the lawyer's going to say it was a mistake. I mean, I grew up watching Friends, as a lot of people did. I modeled a lot of my personality off of Matthew Perry's character Chandler, which has still stuck with me, much to the chagrin of my wife, who gets annoyed when I sometimes fall into his cadence. But I do have, you want to hear, I have an interesting connection to this story, because I actually, the doctor in this case was my doctor for several years, and I recommended him to my friends, the Salvador Placencia fella, and we would, my friends would go and we would have our checkups, and I remember having this conversation about like, man, this doctor seems really laid back about like best practices and mostly just wants to like talk about comedy the entire time. And to the point that I would have to be like, do you want to check my heart rate at some point? And I am no longer obviously with him, and I had stopped being with him maybe a year prior to this happening. But it has definitely within my friend circle been a bit of a drama because these headlines keep appearing with this story. It seems like every few weeks. And so I hope they throw the book at all these guys.
Me too. Just a couple of follow-up things and advice first. Get yourself a good umbrella policy. I mean, you're recommending doctors who are now guilty of this federal crime. Okay. The other thing is HIPAA. We're not going to get into your personal, diagnoses and this and that, but I don't know what he prescribed you, but check your medicine cabinet, brother. Okay.
Absolutely. I know we all were like, we should double check everything that ever happened. And it was a legitimately like scary situation because all of us were like, okay, we have to, I mean, thankfully, I have great healthcare and everything, but like it is, and great doctors now. But he was definitely in a legitimate system at that time. And it is a really scary thought to think that there are a lot of medical professionals out there right now who you don't know what their motivations are. And I did read those text messages that came from this guy, and they are disgusting. I mean, it is like it's morally vacant, as you said, to not even supply an addiction victim with these kinds of substances, but to do so with the knowledge that you are doing it to try to get as much money as possible out of him because you view him as an idiot. It's incredibly sad, and it's also, I think, a stain on just the medical profession and all the doctors out there who are doing legitimately good work.
It is, and let's say that's most of them, even though people like RFK Jr. want all the science and the doctors to just go away or go on an island somewhere, use their vaccines there. But let me say this, the kind of people who perpetrated this deadly crime are the same kind of people who prey on seniors, right? Maybe lost a step or two or can't quite remember, and they see them as an opportunity. Children, vulnerable people. They're so gross. And what we've seen happen in Hollywood, I won't say how often, I don't know. But isn't this part of the adjacent, we'll say, to what killed the king of pop? Not ketamine, but this thing where you're so rich or you're so addicted or both, you can find somebody to give you what you want. Because there's always somebody who's just morally bankrupt. They'll give you what you want. I find these people reprehensible. And I know she's got one of the best attorneys in the game, Mark Garagos, but please don't listen to him. Throw the book at her. Wow.
Yep.
What do you say we move on to this one? A podcaster. Everybody's got a podcast. I'm thinking of starting one, another one. Notre Dame podcaster. Okay. What's this one about? Oh, making the old racist remarks towards Miami players. We can show you better than we tell you first.
The biggest advantage that Notre Dame has is that Miami is a bunch of unintelligent thugs that just play instinctually and not wisely. And the best thing about Miami, for their purposes, is that they're a bunch of unintelligent thugs who just play instinctively. It's the best and the worst thing about Miami.
You know what happens when you have people from the same hangout spots? Like they probably all go to the hookah lounge and laugh at each other's jokes. That's the part that irritated me there. They just thought they were just so cute. They're just so funny and cute. You're not. Our colleague knows that. TYT Sports host Rick Strom gives his take on the matter.
That man's name is Ryan Downey, who said that. His co-hosts are Jonathan Spadea, Chase Gund, and Robbie Rhinesmith, and they encouraged him to say that. They were cheering him on as he said it. They were smiling and nodding in approval of him saying that. Downey would private his Twitter account, but before doing so, said, "Not sure if you saw, I was shocked and surprised to see people thinking this had any sort of racist undertones. It did not. Sorry if I offended anyone. I only meant players out there picking fights, only hitting hard, taking dumb penalties. Truly sorry." So, no, I reject that. I reject it because you're really trying to frame you depicting a predominantly black football team as unintelligent and thugs, both key buzzwords that are racist tropes in going after black folks. And you basically saying that, no, it equates to dirty football players and bad football players. Nope, not going to happen here. You're not going to see me defend any of that, and no one else should. Because what this saltine man is doing is showing how far back we can possibly go by remaining in present day. This goes back to 1988, the Catholics versus convicts story, where Notre Dame was portrayed as the good, God-fearing white boys from Indiana who were just so great. They're just so compassionate. They just had everything. They had it all. And then via the Shadow League, Miami were depicted as black thugs, gun-wielding crack dealers who were terrorizing America's urban streets in the Reagan era and headed for a life of criminality. And as a matter of fact, I know that they appreciate this because one of those podcast hosts had Catholics, convicts in their little handle. So no, I don't buy what you're saying.
They knew exactly what they were doing, didn't they? Knew exactly what they were doing. Okay. And Rick's so right when you harken back to that time. I just watched a documentary, I don't know where, on the Catholics versus convicts controversy. And it was so clear that we hadn't really come far, not far enough. I mean, the reporters, mainstream back then, they all bought in. Like no one flagged it as, this is a little wee bit racist. No, it was fine. It's just the way we talk. And it kind of just went over a lot of people's heads. So here's what's going on in this one, folks. On the What Though, the podcast, formerly known as a Notre Dame freaking podcast, riled up Miami fans when one of its hosts, Ryan Downey, made a controversial comment about the Hurricanes, along with Downey, the What Though, the Pods podcast. I don't even like the name. I want you to change it. It doesn't roll off the tongue. So you're irritating me. I don't find you funny. And I don't even like the name. I'm done giving my own commentary for now, and I'll give you the rest. Hosted by Jonathan Spada, Chase Gunn, Robbie Rhinesmith. After a clip of Downey's comment surfaced online, the podcast immediately came under fire. Okay, as you should. Numerous Miami fans claimed Downey's phrase, unintelligent thugs, had racial undertones. Per awful announcing, the What Though the Pods podcast deleted its previous episodes, as well as its Wednesday episode that went viral. With the Wednesday episode deleted from all the podcast outlets, curious fans have struggled to examine the context around Downey's comments any further. Per Bro Bible, Downey released an apology on his X account before making it private. I mean, you do this public thing, right? And you're in the public domain. But as soon as you're criticized, I know it was probably pretty hot, wasn't it? There was a fire up under your butt. Suddenly you disappear. You just go under. Can't take the heat. If you're going to go all the way, you and your bros, go all the way. That's Tucker. Others. You got to go all the way. Nope. He apologized. Not sure if you saw, I was shocked, surprised to see people thinking this had any sort of racist undertones. It did not. Downey reportedly wrote, sorry if I offended anyone. Not if, bruh. I only meant players out there. Talks about fighting, hitting hard, taking dumb penalties. Truly sorry, but that's not what you said. You didn't say that stuff. He said, unintelligent thugs. For many fans, the pregame scuttlebutt brought back memories of the old days of the Notre Dame-Miami rivalry. Most notably, fans drew comparisons between this week's controversy and the 1988 rivalry game between Notre Dame and Miami that was, as Rick told us, referred to as Catholics versus convicts. These attitudes extended to the NFL too. Racist policies, however, set back a whole generation of Black athletes as league owners and formerly banned Black players from 33 to 46. And Colin Kaepernick too, today. That's according to NFL Football Operations Archives. Even though Black athletes were allowed to join teams in the post-World War II era, quarterback position kept going to white players. Gotta be smart to play quarterback. You have to be able to decipher these defenses. You have to be able to think on your feet. It's just not a Black man's role. They actually believe that. Some still do. There was a belief in the NFL that Black players were not smart enough to play the ultimate thinking man's position. They thought they were inferior. Okay. No matter how well Black football players perform, they are seen as pure athletes. They are not thought of as students of the game, like many white players are. When they make great plays, that would be explained as intelligence. For white players, they garner the label of instinctual. Implies they're somehow animalistic. Remember Jimmy the Greek? He's bred to be this way. He's fast and strong. The approach is rooted as far back as slavery, where Blacks were seen as physically superior in the sense that they could perform certain physical tasks better, but mentally inferior, thus justifying white control. I mean, on the auction block, right? That's why some use the term slave when talking about certain aspects of the NFL and football. The auction block. See how far you can jump, how high, how strong. I see your teeth. That's how sick it is. Sick. Look, I've said a lot. I love Rick's commentary on this, Elliot. I don't care for Notre Dame because it's just like this. I don't know. I just don't like. I love Jerome Bettis, the bus. I think his son goes there now too. So I love the bus, even though I grew up an Eagles fan. He was with the Steelers. Other than that, you can keep him. What say you about all this?
And we have an Eagles game coming up later today, so I don't know if you're going to watch it, but I am looking forward to it because my wife is a massive fan. The whole Notre Dame situation, I need to check out this Catholics versus convicts thing because that sounds incredibly fascinating and also sad. But this just seems like they're saying they're getting as close to saying the quiet part out loud as they can without saying it. And then they're doing this thing of, oh, I was surprised and shocked that people took it this way. First of all, no, you weren't. You're probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're lying. And then second of all, let's just say hypothetically that you truly were like shocked by that. Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't it tell you something that if all of a sudden the entire online collective of people who is just shutting you down, doesn't it tell you something if you had no idea that that was coming, that you might have inherited some kind of antiquated worldview that you are unconsciously passing on to your audience? But I don't think it's unconscious because when they're saying it, you see these dudes reacting and kind of clapping and they're all just sort of like just seals, just like, yeah, do it, do it, do it. And I think they get a kick out of it. And it's only when it comes back to bite them that all of a sudden they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, guys, this is an overreaction. It's like, it's not an overreaction. It does have roots in slavery and you're not fooling anybody anymore. So it is sad. I know this is really prevalent in football, whether it's college or pro. And it is honestly, I think it's good when this kind of thing happens to be able to point to and be like, you know what, here is what we're talking about. When we sound like we're being alarmist or what is it, woke, another great example. These are coming from real world examples and they have antecedents in history that maybe this dude should look up before he, plays the innocent card so much.
That ain't a PhD in waiting talking. I love the way you put that. And I agree.
And on page 242 of
your citation. Look, I agree with you, and I too am glad it happened. Now that you mentioned, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad that people at least reacted to this in this way. because there's this blanket thing. Remember, it wasn't that long ago in the NFL and the whole concussion scandal and who gets paid and how they, deliver the checks and the percentages. And Black players they started a baseline down here because they're not smart. And I mean, it was crazy. And that was seen as like, you just had reporters on ESPN just explaining it like it was no big deal. It's a very big deal. Kudos. Wonder if they'll come back. They got to change the name. Change the name. I'm just not a fan. So maybe I'm not your target audience. All right, let's give you this one. This is a Black TikToker. Black TikTokers schools bigots on gender and pronouns. I think I'm going to love this. Watch.
Screw your pronouns.
So you don't use pronouns at all?
Our pronouns is a man that doesn't respect you.
Okay, so do you use pronouns, yes or no?
Hell no.
Okay, so this is what I want you to do. For the rest of this stream, I will accept that you don't use pronouns, okay? I got it, 100%. If you use a pronoun, okay? If you use a pronoun, you will hear this sound. And what topic did you want to debate about?
You know what? Let's go with, let's go with
Careful there. You said the word you. You is a pronoun. So just remember you don't use pronouns.
You
okay?
is not a fucking pronoun, bro.
Sorry, you just used the word you again.
Is not a pronoun.
Used it again.
Is not a pronoun.
Can you give me a functioning definition of the word gender?
Yeah, a gender. We're going to separate these athletes based on their gender.
This isn't a definition. If I was an alien, and I was an alien that showed up on Earth, who's never heard the phrase gender before, how would you define gender to that alien?
I would say, well, Mr. Alien.
What is the alien doesn't know what Mr. means. The alien has no concept of gender. I'll be the alien. I'm the alien in this scenario. What is Mr.? I don't know what why are you calling me Mr.? That's not my name.
Oh, okay. I just imagined you were leading things. I thought it was being Mr. But anyways.
Kona, can you see the stream?
No.
Great. So I'll just do this for everybody who's watching on YouTube. I'll just do this for everybody watching on YouTube. Now, there are a couple types of pronouns. There are subject pronouns, object pronouns, possessive adjectives, possessive pronouns, and reflexive pronouns. You would be a subject
people that
pronoun.
think they can become a bucket. I wanted to become Superman when I was younger, I grew out of that.
You would be a subject pronoun, Kona. I don't know if you know this, but if you don't, it's okay.
Dude, your pronouns don't exist.
Careful.
We got humans, and in humans, we have two genders. We have males and females.
What is gender? I don't know what that is. Are you saying you have an organ inside of your body called gender? What is this?
It says gender refers to the characteristics of women, men, girls, and boys that are socially constructed.
Oh, socially constructed?
That's what it says.
Oh, so it's constructed amongst societies, and societies might have different social constructions, some of which may fall out of the...
I just realized there's a World Health Organization. They may be on some...
Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes, sir.
All right, what's your name, age, and pronouns?
Dylan, 24, and I'm just a man. I ain't straight, ain't gay, none of that shit.
What does being straight or gay have to do with your pronouns?
I mean, pronouns, that's pretty weird. I mean, if you got you would do, you ain't really need pronouns.
Pronouns are weird? They're just a basic form of English, of the English language. What's weird about them?
Nick.
I love the face at the end. That was content creator Jovan Bradley, who I love, by the way. Okay, just because he actually needs a more intelligent stream of callers. Okay, because he was bored. He can't work with these people, but humble enough to let them display their ignorance. Jovan Bradley, he provides debates, political commentary on multiple platforms. Feel free to support his brilliance. Follow his link tree at Jovan Bradley. Look, this is what the show is all about, Elliot. It's about debating certain things. He allows the callers to bring up things that they wish to, I don't know, bring to the table, make their point about. The stupidity is maybe that's part of the show's brilliance. He shows you how dumb you are. It's like people who want to debate you and say homosexuality is a choice. But when you ask them if, well, then tomorrow you could make a homosexual choice. You choose to be, you could be gay, I could be gay. We all could. They freak out. Their heads literally pop off. They explode. Okay. Which is it? Just make the decent argument. And maybe we can, it's fun, this whole debate, right? I love Jovan. Can we put the picture up? And Elliot, I'll give it to you. Don't you think he's just so casual about it? He's been through this before. Okay, Elliot, these people are no match for him. What can we glean from this?
I don't think the trans panic brigade is sending their best currently, or any of the bigoted groups lately. I mean, the whole idea of the pronoun thing and the obsession over it. First of all, I mean, I remember high school. I remember biology class. It was like day 2 that they explained the differences between sex and gender. And obviously there's nuance in that conversation too. But for the most people were told, everyone was just, they accepted it. It was totally fine. It wasn't until this became a political hot button issue that could be used to rally support for a particular political party that it became a thing. I think it's a completely generated hysteria on the, which, that word too has its own history, but I think it's completely generated. I think it's false. And I think that this guy's doing a great job of just sort of like fielding it. But transphobia aside, the stupidity is really remarkable. I mean, it's honestly like, I feel like I could, you can do better than that. I mean, at least, try to articulate your position in such a way that you don't give a bad name to your side of the aisle, which already has enough going against it. So I think it's incredibly funny to watch these guys where you just like, you could hear them trying so hard and you can see the pieces in their brain trying to fit together and they just can't make it work.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, right? Because they were giving maximum effort. And that should be acknowledged, okay?
Good for
I think
them.
you're right again. They gave effort, real, honest effort. And they just fell way short, okay? You don't even get to take the entrance exam. I'll end with this. I'll give you the last word, but I'll tell you something I like about Jovan's podcast that I'd like to steal, but I want it in real time. I want to walk around with it. My own buzzer. Because I'm tired of telling people off. When I'm minding I'm doing nothing except just breathing. But you bring me this stupidity. And there's this fight in me where I just can't let it go when you say something blatantly racist, homophobic, or whatever it is. I have to fight. And this way I could preserve my voice. My daughter would love that too. I maybe talk too much, but I would just, I'm done. To have a fair fight, Elliot, I'll give it to you on this one. Two people have to, have somewhat equal gravitas, right? We got to be able to do this dance, right? And I can't dance with people. I just want to buzz them out.
Yeah, I don't even think they're playing the same sport in these kinds of instances. I also think the dude's doing a great job. It's like kind of a lesson for, I think, how a lot of folks on the left or progressives should adopt this kind of mentality, because the one thing these dudes can't handle is not being taken seriously. Like, they are on their phones being told constantly that they are victims, that they are the smartest little boys in the world. And if you just deflate them by kind of subtly mocking them and dismissing them, I think it breaks down their barriers and the little like flimsy arguments that they have so quickly that you just get to what's behind it, which is nothing. It's just like a little prideful boy trying really hard to sound like a grown-up.
Yeah, they need a nap and a ba-ba. Imagine living in that bubble and suddenly it bursts and you realize you're not only not the smartest one in the room, you don't even qualify to enter the room.
You're not even in the room. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us where we can find your great work. And are you traveling soon?
Oh, hopefully. Now, I am doing some, but my wife is doing some shows, which you can check out at, you can check out my Instagram, which you can find out both there, Instagram.com/Elliot Morgan. And then on Rebel HQ every week. And then I'm co-hosting here every Thursday. So thank you for having me, Sharon.
And we appreciate you so much. And thank you for putting up with me. And I tend to go off on these tangents, but it's just me.
I love it.
Okay. It's just who I am.
More changes.
Either that or it's ADD, is it? ADHD? Whatever. I don't want to put a label on it, Elliot. I just want to be me. And this is what TYT allows me to be. Thank you, TYT. I love you. Thank you, Dr. Ritchie, for allowing us to take the chairs today. We appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, for your support. We hope you'll be back again.